Hi, I'm Judy Craig with Edina Realty, and I'm joined again with Paul Miller from Business by Design. He's my trusted accounting advisor, and one of the topics that comes up with my clients a lot is what do they do with the capital gains of the home that once they sell it? So Paul, tell me a little bit about what the parameters are and how this works.
Sure. So a lot of people are still kind of confused about this because there was kind of an old set of rules and then something that's come about in the last really decade or so. But it's pretty simple. You live in a home for 2 years and it's your primary residence. And basically you can exempt up to $250,000 if you're single, or $500,000 if you're married, filing joint, and can be exempt of capital gains.
That's the equity that you walk away with at closing.
Not equity, so don't be confused by that, because when I buy a house, let's just say I buy a house that's $300,000, I put $100 down,
okay,
and I get $200 of a mortgage.
Right.
When I sell that house, I'm partly getting my equity back. So let's say I sell it for $400,000. I made $100,000, even though I'm going to get.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
It's
so
what I've invested in
exactly.
it, I'm just getting that back. But the growth or the capital
gain, correct? The gain on that.
If I bought really smart with me,
yes,
and then you're going to sell it and make a $250,000 gain.
Correct. So
over time.
The gain goes beyond your purchase price.
Okay.
So people do get the equity piece confused a lot because they go, "Hey, at closing, we're going to get a check for X." That's kind of irrelevant when it comes to taxes.
Should they be keeping track of all, like, I spent this much on a new driveway, I spent this much on a new roof, and that all gets taken away from capital gains, right?
Correct. So if I did buy property for $300,000, and let's say 5 years down the road I was selling it, now it's $400,000. Here's a couple of things that I think are very powerful for people to know is that, number one, that capital gain, that $100,000 is tax-free.
Okay.
So again, relate that to someone's wages or something. Someone might have to make $160,000 in wages to get that same money tax-free. So it's a huge benefit. So if I am fortunate and I have a gain, that is tax-free to me. Now, if I were to go and say I were to have a second home and have another home in addition to that, the people also have to understand that doesn't qualify as a personal residence. I have to meet that 2 out of 5 year window. Okay, so it has to be my principal residence 2 out of the last 5 years in order to get that capital gain exclusion. And when I get those proceeds, I don't have to reinvest it back into another house.
That was, a lot of people think that they've got a window that they need to
Right.
return it back into something else.
Right, I could sell that house and move into a tent, and just and it doesn't matter where I go with that.
Okay.
So as long as you meet that requirement, 2 out of 5 years, then you have the $250,000 exclusion as a single taxpayer or $500,000 as a married filing joint.
So if you're buying a home and spending some money on it and you want to keep records for your capital gains, what are the right records they should be keeping?
So, the record keeping obviously then changes a little bit. With most people may not run in or exceed that capital gain exclusion. So again, the example we had, if I only had a $100,000 gain, I probably really don't need any records at the time I sell.
Okay.
However, you may never know. What if you live in that house for 20 years and you do at some point exceed that? So the general recommendation would be for people to keep their records and receipts for all improvements, money spent on the home. Not the routine stuff like bills, utility bills, but really the money spent on the home is what they would want to keep for their records in case they ever needed it to substantiate the basis in their home.
Well, and that's a nice thing also when I meet with someone and they're going to be selling their home, it's really nice to have a record of the things that they've upgraded throughout the years of the home. This is all part of what I try to bring value to my clients about selling and buying real estate and being smart about the choices that you're making. So please reach out if you want to talk through what are the plans that you need to do in buying and selling your home. Judy Craig, Edina Realty. Thanks.